Yeah. Can you tell us, explain what PTSD is?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important. So I always think of post-traumatic stress disorder as a form of anxiety. Basically, that's how I'd explain it as a therapist to a client. And really, what has happened is that a part of your brain, there's a very, very clear neurological uh, connection, through neuroscience studies. Part of your brain literally changes its chemical composition, and that produces a cascade of results. And that happens as a result of, I call it trauma with a capital T. That's one of those true life-threatening events, a major car accident, combat, any number of things. Or it could be a series of smaller traumas that build up over time. And I call those the small T for traumas. So think about, a child at school being bullied and maybe not the happiest or safest home environment. The effect of that series of small T traumas builds up over time and becomes a really big thing. We see the same thing in the workforce, with sexual harassment or bullying behavior by managers. Yeah. So what happens is, just think of it as a part of the brain changes its chemical composition. It puts you on an elevated stress plane, and that has an effect on the entire nervous system. It the event becomes an emotional memory that stays stuck in the body as well as in the brain. And it then leads to that cascade of changed behaviors and symptoms. And it creates, you could say, a kind of downward spiral. And as I used to explain to my clients, the whole point of therapy is to stop that downward spiral and really help people to regain their best self.
What do you think causes the downward spiral?
Well, it's a whole number of things. So the part of the brain, let me explain it this way, the part of the brain that changes through a traumatic event is located within the limbic system. That's the subconscious emotional part of the brain. And the specific part that changes is the amygdala or amygdala. I used to just call it Amy, give it a little bit of personification. And Amy is kind of the oldest part of the brain. We share it with every other mammal on the planet, as well as birds and so on. And it's really, it's sometimes described as the fear center because it is there to keep us safe in truly life-threatening situations. And when it's activated, it puts us in that fight, flight, or freeze stress response, which is a fantastic response when your life really does look as though it's under threat. If you smell smoke in your house, you're going to go on high alert to find out where the source of fire is and do all those things. Your body gets supercharged with that cascade of stress hormones to keep yourself and your loved ones safe. The problem that develops when the trauma is too great for a person to absorb, and when the amygdala changes and becomes sensitized, basically, is that you begin to live life as though almost anything could be a source of great danger.